Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Switching Stances. I'm one of your hosts, Tyler, joined by my good friend, my good buddy, Ollie, aka Gaz. How's it going, mate?
I'm going okay. I've lost the war with Bedhead, I'm just sort of letting this roll. But I'm doing well. Good card last weekend and a good one this weekend.
Yep. It's well, to address the Bedhead first of all, it's a battle we all face. It's why I wear hats when I have hats on. It's because my hair's not good, or even if it is maybe good, I don't like it, and I'm like, this must be covered and protected at all costs. And secondly, it was a solid. There were some good fights on this past weekend's card, and we've got another solid weekend this coming weekend. To the point where, yesterday I was chatting to my good friend Jared. And we were talking about our weekends and like, oh, what are you getting up to this weekend? Blah, blah, blah. And his partner goes, oh, Sunday I'm doing this, like with her sister or something. And I'm like, oh, boys' day. We should do something on Sunday. And then we're sort of sitting there. I'm like, whoa, hang on, dude. And then he stops and he goes, say no more. We remembered. We'd forgotten. The UFC's obviously Saturday in other places, but in Australia, time zone-wise, lands on Sunday. The UFC's on Sunday. We're like, that's what we're doing Sunday.
Is it a good Sunday time for you? Because it's UK time. It's like 9 p.m. UK start.
Oh.
So Gaz, is that like early morning for you?
Gaz. It's, true. Yes, you're right. It'll be early morning Sunday. It's not bad, but it's not the ideal. Like, we know Australia has the best time zone normally. Yeah. Midday cards on a Sunday. You've had your Saturday. You've gotten to sleep in on a Sunday. You get up, you do a few things, and then you plant yourself on the couch by 11 a.m., finish off those top prelims, order some chicken wings, and you watch a main card for your Sunday afternoon. It's fucking terrific stuff. But you're right. It'll be at like 7 a.m. now that I think about it. So what I'm thinking now is avoid spoilers, watch later.
I'm going to have to do the same because it's my housemate's birthday. And as much as I'd like to be like, fuck off, I'm watching the fights, I can't really do that. So.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I do think you should do that. And what I mean by that more is if Volkanovski was fighting, I don't think there's any event that stops me watching that, really.
Right, but Leon hasn't got that Volkanovski
in Australia
yet.
Yeah, I guess so, but that's your English champion, and it's the card in London. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get that, but I couldn't watch him winning the title either live. Those are the only two cards I've not seen live. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was busy on that one too.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was that when you were at the music festival? What were you doing then?
No, that was Volk Max.
I was like, yeah, of course, Volk Max 3, because you're like, I need you to tell me it's okay. I don't remember what I told you. What did I say to you about it? You
gave me like a detailed round by round breakdown.
Oh, I did. Yeah, okay.
I was like, I want post round thoughts, effectively.
Okay. Yeah. And by the end, I was just dominant.
I woke up and obviously Messenger shows like the most recent messages first. So I woke up at like 6 a.m. and I was like, oh shit, it's happened. And then I checked my phone and I saw like 50-45 dominant and I was like, nice. And I went back to sleep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then I read through it all in the morning when I actually woke up.
You just needed that relief so you could go back to sleep. That relief that 100%. Volkanovski is the GOAT.
Yep.
Which we know to be true. We know to be true here on Switching Stances. This past weekend, let's talk about this first. Did you have news topics? Did you have anything else?
No. There's been kind of cool that's happened.
Yeah.
News-wise, like the bantamweight title fight got booked for I think May. Other than that, not a great deal.
Yeah, which we sort of knew. We already knew that fight was happening. Kai does have a fight, which is great, winnable, good fight for Kai, Kara France. So I'm happy about that. But outside of that, we had a pretty decent fight night. But my first question I want to ask you about the fight night is, what did you think of the venue? Because I'm big for the crowds. Big for crowds. All fights should be in front of crowds. Sure. I'm over the Apex. But this venue I had people going like, even this small venue is way better than the Apex. I'm like, I don't know. It sort of felt not that much different to the Apex.
It didn't feel that
Is
different.
that just me?
I think it was a
me?
hotel. I feel like think it was like a hotel, like event room.
Yeah. They used to do that venue. I'm pretty sure for other cards back in the day.
Yeah, I think Sanchez Nick Diaz was there.
Yeah, I feel like the Ultimate Fighter one finale was there maybe as well, or some Ultimate Fighter finales back in the day were there.
Maybe
not the first one. I don't know. There's definitely held UFC events in the past.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I wouldn't be against them going back to it. Like, I think there's definitely a place for those small, intimate crowds where it's like the people there are passionate, and you know, there's crowd noise, and it's not just dead silence whilst sort of Merab tries 48 takedowns.
Dude, holy fucking Jesus! Yeah,
but
I almost wish that was in the Apex. Now that you say that, because that's funny. That's almost funnier. That's almost funnier. It's also where Jan fell from grace initially, when he kneed Sterling in the face.
That's true.
While he was
can come full circle.
Yeah, just that full circle moment where his career's over. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I think we do know that his career's over. There was some good highlights on the card. One sad one being Rafael Assunção getting absolutely pounded into the earth's core with a spinning back fist and then like a reverse triangle after giving a thumbs up too. It was fucking sad. It's how careers end 99% of the time in combat sports, unless you're just one of the greats. Is that you're like, no, it's all fine, thumbs up, and you get absolutely fucking killed.
I started the card in that at the beginning of that third round, and by all accounts, the first two rounds were a Assunção quite nicely.
Yeah.
And he won the majority of that third round, and then he didn't,
did he? You know,
he was going for a takedown, and Davey Grant grabbed the fence, acknowledged that he grabbed the fence. Keith Peterson took a point away from him.
Yeah.
And then reset them back in the middle of the cage, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of controversy about that because obviously taking that position away from Merab, even though he didn't have a takedown, he wasn't really in like a great position.
You mean Assunção?
Sorry, Assunção. Taking that away from Assunção, even though it wasn't a great position, it put him back on the feet with someone who's trying to knock him out, and ultimately, you know, dropped him and then finished him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough. It was tough. It was really tough to watch.
It sure was tough.
We also got the cancelled main event from a few weeks ago. Krylov and Span, which was, I mean, what do you call this, Gaz? What do you call this?
So I went to get a drink of water, and by the time I came back up, Ryan Span was in a triangle.
Yeah.
From what I heard, he just bum rushed Krylov and fell into a triangle.
Yeah, well,
which is maybe the most light heavyweight thing.
Yeah, yeah. Not as bad as heavyweights, but certainly not great. Look, it was a decent grappling exchange. It was a bit weird. It was not what I was expecting from the fight at all. And I thought they were both, having their moments, and it was quite a cool exchange. But then it just sort of was like that final exchange where Span found himself in a triangle choke was a bit like, okay, well, that was a bit shit then, wasn't it? And I feel like that was the beginning of the comedy of the rest of the event for me.
Oh, I'd like to talk about Said Nurmagomedov.
Oh,
if we're talking about comedy, I'd quite like to talk about Mr. Spinny Nurmagomedov, who spinned for a round.
Is this the first Nurmagomedov to lose?
Well, he's not actually Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, no, I understand.
He's not.
His last name is Nurmagomedov, though. Well, what's a real Nurmagomedov? Tell me what a real and not real Nurmagomedov is.
He's not in Khabib's family. I think they're family friends, but
Well, he's lost 3 fights, so he's definitely
Well, that'll
not
be it.
real. He's definitely not real.
But he's
the Magomedovs don't have O's next to their names. Oh, sorry, only have O's next to their names.
Yeah, they do. But no, he spins a lot and hopes that people don't wrestle him because of his last name, I guess.
Yeah, and it's worked so far. You know,
it has worked so far. It has totally worked so far. What was quite funny is that he did his whole spinny shit for the first round and then was like, "Oh, he's still here. Yeah. I've not either guillotined him or knocked him out. What do I do now?" And the answer was just spin more slowly.
Well,
instead of just chaining spins together and like keeping the spins at a high pace, he would, instead of moving away from spins and maybe doing some more traditional boxing stuff, you know, keeping the pace a little bit lower, he thought spin do more. Nothing. He'd do nothing for 20 seconds and then spin like really slowly.
And what we've realized the last couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen, is Gaz hates people that just spin for no reason.
I fucking do.
Over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So, not surprised this was something that really bothered you, to be honest.
I mean, Valentina Shevchenko made it the funniest, really.
Well, I mean, that's the highest stakes.
For sure.
Where it's backfired. Whereas this is, this backfiring for Saeed isn't, it's like, okay, that's funny. But it's not pure comedy like a dominant world champion finally getting caught up for her one weakness, which is spinning for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Weidman showed the blueprint back in the day. He went from being a dominant champion, number 2 pound for pound in the world, to just a sad story.
Chael Sonnen did the same.
When he spun against... Yeah, it's true. It's true. You're right. Chael Sonnen also did spin for no reason. And that, was tough. Also, not as tough, I feel like, as Chris Weidman, but tough.
No, for sure.
I mean, when I watched it at the time, I thought I don't want to talk about this card. When I watched that co-main event, I was like, I don't want to talk about this card. But then I thought we have to talk about this card because it was truly embarrassing.
I was desperate to talk about this.
Yeah, I know you were.
I watched this with on a Twitter space with some other people from MMA Twitter, and like Alexander Romanov versus Alexander Volkov, and during Romanov's
how that they didn't
out,
force this as a main event is hilarious and beyond.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
But I was saying as Romanov walked out, I was like, oh man, Volkov's got some pretty nasty teep kicks. Like, I feel like Romanov, if he just takes one of those, he's going to collapse. And I was sort of joking.
Yeah. But you've got to think to yourself, I don't care what you say about heavyweights and some exceptions to the rule where they look like shit. You're not tied to a Vasa, Romanov. You're not in... Just looking at him, I'm like, he's nothing. He's nobody. Why is he here? The fact that he's in the top 15 is not, like, impressive on his part. It's embarrassing on the UFC's part. That this out-of-shape fat fuck was in the top 15. And I had to watch this bullshit on my television screen. And you're calling this high-level martial arts? It's the co-main event to a main card. And it's top 15 heavyweights. And it was bullshit. Alexander Volkov is a half-decent, okay, sometimes heavyweight. And he just dominated. He shouldn't dominate anybody. But he dominated... Well, he shouldn't dominate anybody in the top 15. But he dominated Romanov. And not in a way of, like, landed big shots and just, like, went on a heavyweight tear. Just like I'm just going to not let you do anything to me and then just poke you in the stomach with my foot. Slightly. And that was the fight.
Romanov goes for a single leg and hangs onto it for about 50 seconds as Volkov sort of looks down at him and is like, are you gonna give this up, or I'm not going anywhere? And if you can't get that, if your thing is to wrestle and you can't get the takedown immediately when you're not sweaty, when you're, dry and fresh and full of gas, you're not going to get it in round 3 when Volkov's a little bit sweaty.
Yeah, probably.
Obviously he didn't go to round 3 because Volkov teeped him once, and and Romanov crumbled
under his own fat weight, out of shape weight. And I mean that with the greatest of respect when I say that, but just crumbled under his own weight. And honestly, after he didn't get that takedown, just the look of defeat in his eyes.
Oh my god, it was crushing.
It was bad.
Did you see Romanov last time? Because he's normally come in looking pretty tubby. But last time...
I felt like that was the worst shape I've seen him come in, though.
Yeah, well, last time he cut weight and like came in quite good shape and then didn't put on a very good performance. And so I guess this time he went...
Well, why put in any effort?
What's the fucking point? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But then I need the UFC to cut him now because that shit pisses me off a lot.
I'm like, that's
maybe
the type
give
of
him to Tai
performance
Tuivasa first.
Maybe, yeah, I'd be up for that.
Give him to Tai Tuivasa first. Let us get, let him. He needs a lesson in only Pacific Island blokes get to be fat as fuck and walk in or fight well. Only the boys from the Pacific Islands can do that. Only the Polynesian boys can fucking walk in out of shape and fight like motherfuckers because that's how they're built. They could train every day, always. That's how they look. That's them in shape. And they'll beat the piss out of you. They're as tough as they come. I fucking love those boys. And he needs to teach Romanov a lesson that he can't be out of shape and fight in the UFC ever. And
yeah, I mean, that is...
It's like karma, in a way.
That is totally the kind of performance where I'll watch that and I'll be like, I don't think I need to see you fight again, actually.
Yeah, I never see
Romanov
fight again unless it's against Tai Tuivasa for just for our fun and enjoyment, really.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Oh god, then we get to the main event.
Okay.
We get to the main event, Petr Yan versus Merab. No matter, they said it so many times, I still can't get his last name. Even on the broadcast, and I practiced it before. Dvalishvili.
You said it in front of the mirror.
Yeah, oh dude, it was like you say, but I was scared. Like you say it 3 times and then they appear. So I didn't say it. So I said it once and I was like, oh shit, I won't do that again. So I didn't get much practice, I should say. I mean, Merab, I thought he could do this, but the pace he had for 5 rounds was insane. That I didn't expect. I knew he could put the pressure on Yan, and I thought it might be how it goes, but I did not think he would sustain this for all 5 rounds and just dominate Petr Yan that way,
Yeah.
If you're wondering why I pronounced his name that way, you didn't listen to the last week's podcast. Anyway. Gaz, what are your thoughts? Break this down for me.
I love this fight. Yeah. I did think Merab would be able to be there the whole time.
Yeah.
But it was just a matter of like Yan opens fights slow and he gets people to fight a Petr Yan paced fight because you're not going to blow him out the water as if he's Cody Garbrandt. You're not going to come out start strong against Petr Yan and knock him out the park. You know that he starts slow, so you can kind of do just enough in that first round to win it.
Yeah.
And also, you don't want to gas yourself out in the later rounds when Jan's at his strongest. The issue with that, obviously, is that you give Yan time to make his reads, to work out your tells, and then he starts building and building and building, and he fucking smokes you.
Yeah.
Merab did not do that. Merab got in his face from the opening seconds and would not fuck off.
Immediately. It's just like a leech. Just like fucking
like,
fly in his face. Just
refused to fucking go away.
Yeah.
And it really troubled Yan because he didn't have time to make reads.
No. Not at all.
There was no break. And so he was just
set up, he couldn't get a rhythm going.
Constant reactive fighting game.
Yeah.
As Merab, like, to his credit, even in the striking, he's not a great striker, but he's a confident striker, and he would be in Jan's face. He'd exploit that high guard by popping out straight shots and uppercuts, the odd front kick.
Well, that's the thing about MMA. Strikers that are worse than others can still do well in the striking against them if they use other methods of their game and how they use it. Merab threatened so much with the takedown, threatened so much with the pace, that by the time he chose to strike with Jan, it was more just to give him, himself that slight break, but also he never put himself into dangerous positions. As soon as Jan looked like he was cutting an angle, getting a shot, Merab went back to the grappling, went back to the takedowns. And then when he had Jan on the back foot, he would throw strikes, he'd throw kicks. And then as soon as Jan started any sort of step forward, takedown, grapple. Like even just the attempt of a takedown. That pace that he put on Jan just didn't let him get comfortable, didn't let him find any rhythm, and sort of use these pockets of moments to, obviously you need to recover a little bit to sort of strike, but just tried to keep Jan on that back foot the whole time he was doing it. He was never backing away from Jan, letting Jan set up shots at any point. As soon as that happened, bang, I want the main position. He refused to give up his dominant position in the footwork, in the, with octagon control, with anything. I mean, Jan had a couple of moments, but overall, it was just a really dominant performance. I thought he had some good, early in the round, some good leg kicks here and there, some good body kicks.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you look at the statistics, the numbers for the leg and the body are quite similar for both the guys. Right. It's the head strikes that Merab really landed way more of. On Jan, and that was when he would catch him just backing up, and he'd exit from the grappling, throw some of those shots to the head, pull back, and then he's straight back in, just not giving Jan a moment. And then by the time you get to the fourth round, Jan was gassed enough that Merab could strike with him more, and it wasn't honestly, about him technically better. It was just like, you're tired as fuck.
I give that more credit to Jan's eye being a balloon. I don't think he couldn't get any range going, and his high guard sort of blocks, he's blocked off anyway. So I think he was very much in those last couple of rounds just a man fighting on instinct. Like, he'd let Merab jab him and he'd try and jab back, or he'd try and low kick back, but he wasn't doing those body kicks because he just couldn't get the fucking range on him. He couldn't be an active striker in those last couple of rounds because he couldn't fucking see him. Yeah. So he just had to feel something hit his guard and then swing back. And he caught him a couple times, but nothing substantial. A jab here and there. Yeah. I really liked Merab as well, using things that O'Malley brought out of Jan to, he'd get Jan to hand fight with him, which Jan likes to do, and then he'd launch an overhand over the top using his range, and Merab used the same method to different ends, where he'd jab at Jan's lead hand, get it to come out in front of his body, and then he'd duck in on the takedown. Yeah. On that single leg. Yeah. Same stuff with the high guard. He'd box him up. Jan puts both his hands up to his head, wraps them like earmuffs, and obviously that leaves his hips undefended, and Merab could box into his takedowns really well. And also, not all of his takedowns were. He wasn't going for takedowns to get control time and damage on the ground. I'm sure he'd have loved it. But they were to wear him out. They were to give Merab the clinch, dominant clinch positions. Because in 50-50 clinches, Jan was holding his own. Yeah.
That's right. He even had some control time in there as well. Yeah. Jan did. And he did get one takedown according to the fight stats. But the total strikes was 87 to 202. Significant 75 to 147. It was, by the numbers, 11 takedowns to 1, 1 of 5 attempts from Jan, 11 of 49 attempts, a UFC record for Merab. Yeah. That's dominant. It didn't look close. That was a 50-45, and that was clear.
I liked a little bit of what Jan was doing with... He would the whole fight he was throwing these hard body strikes. He went to a lead uppercut to the body a couple times, some body kicks. Clearly he was trying to gas Merab out. and take away that biggest weapon, but he just couldn't do it. That like he didn't have A, the time to do it, and B, Merab didn't care. He just does not care what you do to him. He's always there. Like there were a couple of times where Jan would like sit back in his shots, bite down on his mouthpiece, and throw something hard to try and get Merab off him, and Merab again would not give a fuck. Just like super impressive performance. Like really, like that's after the Aldo performance, you need that.
Yeah, agreed. What do you think you do next with him? Because he's not going to fight Aljo. Aljo's going to beat Henry Cejudo. Just saying.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched enough Cejudo, but I've doubted Aljo too much. I'm gonna pick Aljo based on precedent.
Yeah, I mean, on condition and fight shape, and has been active alone over the last 3 years, I pick Aljo, let alone stylistically, I pick Aljo as well. I don't think it's a close fight. I think Aljo's going to fuck him up like he did TJ. Like he did a one-arm TJ. I think it's
let's not.
I mean, to be fair, you can be upset that TJ was one-armed, but even just physically in that fight, I was like, shit, Aljo looks so much bigger and stronger and better than TJ. Anyway, I don't really think it was going to be much different. Maybe it went 5 rounds, but Aljo was going to probably win that fight. Looking back, I'm very impressed with Aljo. Very impressed with him. Ever since
I'm a fan.
Really like, and I'm not a fan. I don't like him all that much. I think he's fucking whatever. But as a fight, like, and I'm just only talking about as a fan of the sport, as the personality, and as well as the fighter. I like he's fine. He's a great fighter to watch, and I think he's an incredible fighter. But I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not the biggest Aljo guy. I'm just not. But I can't deny that I think he's a really incredible champion in the UFC right now. I mean, he beats most of that top 5. I wonder what it would be like to have him fight Merab. It's not really a fair fight because they train together and, they both make each other better, as the commentary kept on saying throughout that event. But it's true. But with Merab, what do you do now? Because he's not getting the next title shot. He's not. Even if Aljo left, they're not giving it to him over Sugar. And if Cheeto beats Corey Sandhagen, and Aljo leaves, Cheeto and Sugar are fighting for the belt.
Honestly, man, I think it's probably going to be Merab Cheeto. I think that's all you can do, or I guess Sandhagen if you want to be.
How does O'Malley not get the title shot?
Oh, he does. He does, but I don't
you just think Cheeto and Merab.
Oh, yeah, but not for the title.
Oh, do you?
I think probably. I mean, let's say Aljo wins, just because it's easier. Because obviously, if Cejudo wins, you give it to Sean. Merab fights either Cheeto or Sandhagen.
Yeah.
And then fights for the title if he wins.
Yeah.
If Aljo wins, I don't know if he'll move up. I feel like he might. I feel like he might be in a place where, like, I've beaten some of the best bantamweights of all time in terms of star power, in terms of like people's respect of them.
Yeah.
So I think he might be like, right, give me a top 5 ranked featherweight, and then I'll have a title shot if I win.
Yeah.
I think you probably do O'Malley. O'Malley Cheeto makes sense in terms of star power, and then I guess you do Merab versus.
And the story, they're 40 each other before. It's O'Malley's only loss, and they were both unranked at the time.
Yeah.
Or Sean might have been like ranked 14 or something.
I thought Cheeto was like 14 or something.
I don't know.
I thought that was O'Malley's like first break into the top 15.
Maybe I feel like from memory they weren't at the time. I feel like that's how Cheeto got ranked. I feel like O'Malley was like 14th or 15th. And they'd gifted him a ranking, even though he hadn't beaten anyone ranked. And then Cheeto beat him.
Maybe.
But now, and at the time, you're sort of like, oh, Sean O'Malley's not that good. And now you're like, well, Cheeto's ranked number 3 in the world. So
yeah,
it's really aged fucking well, that only loss
Yeah,
Sean O'Malley
yeah.
has, you know? So he looks very good. And that rematch is just so sick. And I love both those guys. And I want Cheeto to win again. Because I'm a fucking massive Cheeto fan. And I think Cheeto's the future world champion.
I'd love either of them to be.
Fucking would love. Like, well, that's the thing. It's a win-win if you have them fight for the title.
Yeah, actually,
Cheeto and O'Malley, that's a win-win title fight.
This does assume, though, that we're going to get Sanhagen versus Cheeto. Cheeto's going to win, which I know you are high on, but...
I am high on, obviously.
We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks more, but
dork,
I'm not convinced. I think that's a rough fucking matchup for Cheeto. Yeah, I think it's probably the worst matchup for Cheeto.
I think you're gonna eat your fucking words, and I think he's gonna.
I might,
be easy.
Yeah. But I think it's a.
I think that arthritis-ridden dork is gonna absolutely get fucked up by Cheeto.
That's not very nice.
Doesn't he just look like a guy with arthritis? You know what I mean? He looks like a guy that like has severe back pain as a young man.
He's a funny looking man for sure. But I do like it. I like
about Sanhagen. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. It seems
Sanhagen.
like. Yeah, he seems like a really
cool.
nice guy.
I love everything he does.
I'm a
apart from giving up his back.
I'm just a dick.
You are just a dick, but it's okay because normally we agree on the fighters that being a dick to.
Yeah, it's true.
Whereas Sanhagen is a boy.
Oh, I've got to play up to it, right? We've got to play up.
For sure. You've got to work.
Because I know how much you like him, and I'm just like, I can upset you. So you know, if Sanhagen sees this somehow one day, don't hate me.
When Sanhagen wins, I guess you probably do O'Malley Sanhagen, which will be a car crash.
That's a good fight as well. Stylistically, it's a good fight.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a good fight for Sanhagen as someone who likes to infight a bit.
Yeah,
because if you get both guys trying to be rangy, it's fucked. And Sean likes to be rangy, but Sanhagen likes to do stuff in spite of his range. He'll jab into distance and then start working like body shots and hooks and knees and elbows.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's going to be rough for Sean. But anyway, it's not even a fight that's on the table at the moment. But...
No, it's not. We don't need to worry about that. But yeah, Merab. Yeah, I don't know what you do with him, bro. I just don't know what you do with him.
Did you hear Dana talk about? He sort of gave him a little bit of a warning.
I did hear Dana do it, but that's classic fucking Dana. Because
it is classic Dana. He's just trying to put pressure on him.
Yeah, because fuck Dana. He's a fucking idiot.
But it is also a case of like, what are you doing in the division if you're just killing our like upcoming stars? Like if he beats Cheeto, if he beats someone like Usman Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
Is it Usman or Umar? Which Nurmagomedov's the Bellator one? Which one's the one that's here? Umar's the one here.
Is the one in
Umar's
UFC,
the one
because Usman just fought on the weekend.
Yes, he had that. Benson Henderson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's news.
Shout out to Benson, by the way.
Yeah.
What a legend! Absolute fucking, one of the first UFC lightweight champions. So shout out to Benson Henderson. Beat Frankie Edgar, and I hated Benson for that at the time, because I love Frankie Edgar. But yeah.
Do you want to get into 286, the London card?
Well, I think we should. We've had a look at the bantamweights. We've had a look at the last week cards. One sec. Gonna grab a water.
That's cool.
We'll cut this part out, and then we'll start on breaking down the 286. Oh, Gaz. Oh, Gaz. There's just nothing better than a Mount Franklin lime water. I can't even... I don't even know what to say. It absolutely... it just kills me every time I drink them. I drink them every day. And it doesn't get old.
There's nothing more, mid-20s than being a fan of lime water, I feel.
Mount Franklin lightly sparkling lime water. That's a sign of a man in that's just in a committed relationship and just given up That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what this
100%.
is. That's what this is right
I'm
here.
glad you
ladies and
see
gentlemen. That's what the peak, male is in 2023. That's just a man that's broken down, defeated. Yep. That's Peter Yan right there.
Oh, you know what, actually, going back to Jan very quickly, he handled his loss very well.
He didn't
There was
cry.
there
I'm
was
disappointed by that. That was
there
actually the
no,
biggest
like,
thing I was
the
upset
UFC's
about.
trying to rob me. He put out
Well,
an Instagram post
you
and
can't
he was
really
like,
say that, can you?
No,
when
you
get
can't.
No. No.
But
He probably did
said,
cry,
like,
but not in the way I wanted him to. Him crying emotionally that's sad. But him just crying, complaining, that's funny. And that wasn't, that's not what we got.
Yeah, I
So he
don't
did
want him to be
technically-
sad. I want him to whine.
Yes, me too. Yeah, we don't want people sad. We don't wish for downfalls of anybody here except for John Jones on this podcast.
Yeah, right. There's a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, there was one guy who has a domestic violence record who debuted on that card and got guillotined, which was nice to see.
That's nice. We won't even say his name. So that's
No, I don't know his name nor care.
Yeah, great. Okay. What is that what you want to say about Jan?
Yeah, I just like props to actually
Just shout
handling
out-
it
shout-
like a
yeah.
fucking fighter.
Yeah, shout out to Puerta. So that's great. UFC 286, Usman, Edwards 3, UFC Welterweight Championship of the World. I'm going to be honest, I have nothing to say about any of the prelims. Any of them.
I've got a couple.
You
just
give
to,
your shout outs
touch
because
on.
I've gone through them and I got nothing. I got nothing. Even the fighters I know, I'm like, don't care. So you tell me.
Well, Lerone Murphy coming back against Gabriel Santos is cool. It was going to be him versus Nathaniel Wood, I think.
I think you said Lauren Murphy. I was like, what?
Here she's back after
I'm like,
a
you
fast
care about
turnaround
Lauren
after that
Murphy?
one against Andrade.
Yeah.
No, Lerone Murphy against Gabriel Santos. Gabriel Santos, who I think just won a title in, I want to say LFA, but it might be another minor league promotion. But that's a good short notice fight that I'm going to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah.
Muhammad Makayev's back. He was really impressive in his first one, and then has since put on kind of stinkers.
Yes.
He's very young, so like I can kind of excuse it. He came out his first fight, flying kneed someone, and then I think guillotined them or darsed them or something. After that, had one where he refused to throw any strikes. And then
Jesus, that absolutely blasted out your mic, mate.
sorry, mate. You went to meet me for that one. I knew it was coming. I couldn't stop.
R.I.P. headphone users. Yeah.
But then his most recent one, he did a lot of sort of throwing, spinning shit in the middle of the cage, and then ended up getting.
What do we know,
submission.
Gaz? What do we know that you?
Yeah,
don't like?
he's losing me slowly.
Yeah, is that just like as soon as someone throws spinning shit for no reason? When I have my first fight, I'm gonna throw a spinning thing for no reason.
Just open
piss
it.
you off.
Open it with some spinning
I'm gonna
bullshit.
Open it with some spinning bullshit for no reason, like a spinning back fist for no reason whatsoever.
You've also got to make sure you do it when you're tired as well. 4 minutes into the third round, throw like a spin kick at the speed of a fucking slug.
Yeah.
Just really,
really, yeah.
like some sort of interpretive dance.
Yes, where it's sort of like more of a flail than a kick.
Yeah.
A spinning flail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It'll be done.
Jack Shaw's back at featherweight this time after his first bantamweight loss against Makwan Amerikani.
Yeah.
Makwan notorious for being really quite hard to deal with in round one, and then if he can't get it done in round one, he just sucks.
Yeah.
He just gasses out completely and sort of struggles. Obviously, last time he was in London, he murked Mike Grundy in front of his dying dad, which was a shame, and then celebrated and ran around the cage screaming.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta read the room, hey?
So hopefully Jack Shaw puts him away.
Yep.
That's all I wanted to talk about really on the prelims.
Well,
I'm happy to get into
when you've
bottom
got
of the main card.
yeah, well the main card is solid. It's a solid main card. There's some good fights here. I mean, the opening fight, I actually really like. It could be a fortnight. It could be the week of the Georgians. You know, if following Merab, you've got Roman Dolidze. Is it Dolidze?
Dolidze.
You pronounce the E. Dolidze versus Marvin Vettori, number 4 versus number 9. Vettori being ranked number 4. I mean, Roman's on I think a 4-fight win streak right now. And he just had a good win against Jack Hermanson. He's a solid dude. I feel like I just don't think he's going to get through Marvin. I think this is a really winnable fight for Marvin Vettori. I think this is like a get back in the win column fight for Marvin.
He's inconsistent, but he's good at finding things. Dolidze. I mean, this is also a very middleweight fight, and that it's just two guys that are going to crash in the middle and have a bit of a weird fight, I think.
Do you think so? I think Marvin Vettori's mostly beyond that.
I mean,
when
he's
you
not
look at the Costa fight, that was a 5-round, and Marvin Vettori did really fucking well. He showed me a lot in that fight with actually being in good condition and being a real athlete in that division that's got a gas tank and fight well for 5 rounds. Sure, he looked like shit against Robert Whittaker, but it's Robert fucking Whittaker. You know, one of the pound for pound best.
No, I can't hold the Whittaker performance against him for sure. Yeah. But I can certainly hold Adesanya 2 against him.
Yeah, I just think that I rate Marvin Vettori in that regard of he's a real elite fighter that is in that division. It's just a division where the top 2 guys are like, not including Alex Pereira, because I don't know. I'm not sure if Alex Pereira is that great a fighter or is just the pure kryptonite of Adesanya. I don't know yet. I just haven't seen enough of him. I'm not saying he's not, but I rate Adesanya and Whittaker in top 15, if not top 10, pound for pound. So
sure.
I just think Marvin is a victim of that and that alone. And I just haven't seen Roman beat anyone yet that is at that level to show that he's at that level.
No.
So all I'm saying, like, that's where I'm at right now. And I haven't seen anything in his Roman's previous fights that shows me he has that in him either. He's won fights that he should, be able to win. If he can beat Marvin Vettori and beat Marvin Vettori convincingly, I'm excited about this guy. I'm like, holy shit, this is somebody in the division that could fight. I'd want to see fight a Whittaker. You beat Marvin Vettori, I want to see you fight a Robert Whittaker. I want to see you fight an Israel Adesanya down the road. Like, you could be a contender.
It would be good to see Marvin try and keep this on the feet, because I think he's a consistent, confident enough boxer to where he can make Roman's life a little bit tricky on the feet.
Yeah.
It's when Dolidze gets on the ground that he whips out his sort of like weird submission-y stuff, which then chains together really nicely. But Marvin being like a natural wrestler makes me a little bit concerned for him. I think it might just be like a habit he falls back into if things get tough.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard one to call, man. It is a hard one to call.
I've got Vettori by decision.
I've got that too.
That's my prediction.
But it's not with any confidence. I mean, I think I'm probably like 70% on Vettori.
Yeah. Well, so we both got Vettori by decision in that fight. That's our pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the card is a women's flyweight bout, which most people might not care about. I care about purely for one reason alone. You figure that out. Number 8, Jennifer Maia fights number 12, Casey O'Neill. Aussie girl, Gold Coast girl, Casey O'Neill. I'm a big O'Neill fan, so I'm rooting for her. And always want to see the Aussie fighter succeed. And though I'm pretty sure she's born in Scotland, she fights...
That makes sense with the last name.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, you all fucking moved here, so all the names here too are the same, but we're still Australians.
Yeah. But she's not fought for a while, eh? She's had a good year off.
Has she?
Yeah, she last fought on Adesanya Whittaker too.
So she's had a full year off.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's when she beat Roxanne. Yeah, and that was Roxanne's last fight, retirement fight, and she just dominated her. And didn't people give Roxanne rounds or something?
It was a split decision.
Casey O'Neill literally dominated her in a split. Yeah, that was
I
fucking
thought it was
weird.
I thought it was a pretty clear.
I thought it was a clear
from memory.
30-27.
I'll be honest, that one hasn't been saved to my memory.
Yeah, it was a clear 30-27, and then they made a split decision. I was like, what the fuck fight were they watching? That's retarded. Sorry, hard-worded. But I've got Casey O'Neill all day in this fight. I rate her highly. I think she's going to be a top... I don't know if she'll be a world champion, but she'll be a top 5 flyweight. And I think Jennifer Meyer's just sort of fucking average. And just a victim of being broken by Valentina Shevchenko, and will just, once you've just been defeated mentally, I don't know. I just don't rate her.
Yeah, that's valid. Just looking at record, I'm not
at her wins.
Super impressed.
Yeah. Once Shevchenko beat her, she's won. She's 2-2 since fighting Shevchenko.
Yeah.
And she's beating nobodies. I think Casey O'Neill's legit. I think Casey O'Neill beats her. I think it's a decision.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's pretty. I think that's quite a fair assumption.
I think it's a clear decision. I think it's just Casey keeps her off in the grappling, pieces her up a bit on the feet. It's not going to be all that exciting. My girl wins.
No. Yeah. Okay. I'll pick Casey for sure.
Decision. Or you've gone for a finish?
Probably a decision, yeah. I mean, O'Neill's got a couple finishes, which is nice to see, especially at women's flyweight. It's not super common.
Yeah.
But they've not been against particularly great competition.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, you could say about a lot of women's flyweight, so...
That's true.
It's... Yeah, I think a decision's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Maya looks hard to put away, so...
Yeah. Then you've got usually the third fight on the card's like the people's main event. In this case, it's the co-main because there's not 2 title fights. But I still think this fight's an absolute banger. Gunnar Nelson, Brian Barberena.
Okay, you are.
I love watching Brian Barberena fight. I think he puts on bangers and bangers only.
And obviously it's London, so Gunnar Nelson has to show up.
I think
he only fights in London now, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Gunnar Nelson's just that guy that only fights UK events, or European events that they do once a year, and and haven't done in 3 years in that COVID time. So literally had 3 years off because of COVID, and then waited for London return. That's what Gunnar Nelson does. I don't understand Gunnar Nelson. I don't understand he's still around. He was a guy that could have been a world champion at a time. Was looking like an up-and-coming guy, and now it's just sort of sad. I think it will be a banger fight. I think Gunnar will be forced into a bit of a brawl with Brian. I think Brian's going to neutralise the grappling pretty early, and I think it's probably going to be a late first round, early second round finish. I think Brian Barberena TKOs him.
Okay. I'm not picking that.
Okay. Tell me.
I'm picking Gunnar Nelson. I haven't watched enough Brian Barberena to have a solid read on his grappling, but looking at the guys that Nelson's lost to, it's Gilbert Burns, it's the current champion, it's guys like Damian Maia, Santiago Ponzinibbio, who's washed now, but wasn't a bad fighter,
Yeah.
I think that this is the type of guy that Gunnar normally beats. And I think he's probably still a good enough grappler where he can make it happen for him. So I'm going to go Gunnar Nelson by submission. Especially after what RDA did to him.
That's true.
Second round. Second round I'm going to go with.
I just don't rate Gunnar anymore. I used to be a Gunnar fan. I've really given up on him. So,
yeah,
but he's a big favourite. Minus 380. Gunnar Nelson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Those odds are way in Gunnar's favour. I'm picking the underdog in that. I'm picking Barberena by KO.
Put a bit of money on it. Put your money where your mouth is.
I don't bet.
No, neither do I.
The co-main event,
Oh.
Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev, lightweight, banger alert. I mean, this is the people's main event, really. I think this is going to be fireworks. I think you're going to have... I think it's going to come down to who's the more technical striker on the night and in the brawl maintains their technique. I think it should be Rafael Fiziev. I just wonder what the bright lights may do to him in a big pay-per-view spot against a big fighter, because some guys like Justin Gaethje are sort of built for these moments, unless they're facing another guy built for these moments, like a Dustin Poirier, like a Khabib Nurmagomedov, a Charles Oliveira, like the elite of elite. Rafael Fiziev might be that guy too, though. But we just haven't seen it yet. This is his opportunity. This is huge for Rafael Fiziev. I think he's the better striker. I think he's the more technical guy. I think he should win this fight. But you're talking about the big moments. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm picking Fiziev, but I'm not going to be surprised if the moment comes, Fiziev gets caught in a brawl and Gaethje lands a shot.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that it's probably going to come down to body work. At least partially. Gaethje's always had a big issue with body work.
Body kicks, like some big body kicks at the end of exchanges.
Knees.
Yeah.
Kicks and knees really is the thing for me. I think Gaethje's not great when it comes to defending his body. He's got that high guard. He sort of like lets people try and hit him, and then he moves his head and he swings back.
Yeah, and when he swings, he's swinging with big hooks. So if Fiziev can cut angles at the end of exchanges and be out of the, like, step out on his kicks as Gaethje's throwing big wide hooks and just not be there but be throwing kicks to the body at the same time, like if he's countering with those shots, he could. I mean, stylistically, I really think Fiziev should fuck up Justin Gaethje.
Yes, it's a fight where if Fiziev's who we think Fiziev is, Gaethje should probably look like shit.
Yeah, I don't think it'll look like shit, but it'll be pretty clear who the better technical fighter and striker is.
I think this is one that he really should win. Like, and Gaethje should really look bad in. I think that this is like, if Fiziev can make it work for him, I feel like he's Gaethje's kryptonite in a sense. But it's also the sort of thing where, like, is Fiziev a technical pocket boxer? I haven't watched enough of him. I'm going to start watching him today, but like, is he enough of a technical pocket boxer to where Gaethje can't catch him, clip him with something as he gets in, you know?
Yeah, and there's always X factors when it comes to mixed martial arts and when it comes to big pay-per-views. And it's about the big moments, it's about the crowds, and Justin Gaethje just has this thing where he can just turn on for those moments and compose himself when he really needs to sometimes. He really has shown up as someone that's like, oh my god, he's fucking amazing. I think Gaethje's an incredible fighter, and we're lucky to have had him in the UFC as long as we have, because he's put on just his fight catalog is chef's kiss when it comes to quality. So I can never count out Justin Gaethje. I'm not counting him out. I can't sit here and say Fiziev's 100%. Fiziev's winning this fight. I just know Gaethje can absolutely put it on and KO Fiziev in the first round and shock everyone. I'm still picking Fiziev. I think Fiziev finishes him in the third round. I think he finishes him late. I think he puts in body work. I think he puts in, when you get to the late in the second round, he starts landing some big shots to the head. And then I think by the third round, Gaethje's going to be beat up. And that work's going to have added up for Fiziev, and he's going to put it on him and finish him in the third. That's what I think will happen. That's my prediction.
I think Fiziev by TKO. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think either first or third. To be honest, I think it's the type of fight where either Gaethje gets smoked out the water, and it looks a bit like the Charles Oliveira fight where he just gets cracked and crumbles.
Yeah.
Or it takes a while, it's attritional, it's like the Dustin Alvarez fights where it takes him a while but he starts slowing down and gets finished. The slumps.
Yeah, true.
Are we saying winner gets Dustin?
That's not
That's what I'm saying.
Is this a Dustin Poirier number 1 contender fight? I mean, I've wanted to see. I wouldn't have been mad at Gaethje Poirier 2.
No, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. They're such different fighters now.
And if Gaethje wins, that sort of would make sense, wouldn't it? Because what do you do with Dustin, right? Because if Islam fights Oliveira Dariush winner, let's say. Well, I mean, to be fair, if Oliveira beats Dariush, I'd be fine with.
Then you can give it to Fiziev.
I'd be fine with Poirier Islam.
I'd be fine with it. I just don't think it's that.
I mean, I think
we
if
know
Dariush,
how it goes because we've seen it twice, sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess, but I think name value. Yeah, there'll be similar rankings. Poirier Fiziev would the UFC want to stick. And as well, does the UFC want to see Volk Islam too? I think they do. I think it's a safe bet Volk beats anybody at featherweight. Like, he is a tough matchup, don't get me wrong. I've got some concerns there, but I mean, I do think Volk's the favourite against literally everyone at featherweight, so the UFC expects that. I think Fiziev's a tougher fight for Islam than Poirier is.
Yes, I agree.
So,
100%.
Does the UFC go, well, we can give Islam a big fight that he's going to win likely, and then we can do the rematch with Volk?
You can certainly do that. Yeah, you can
there's a lot that has to happen for that to happen. I might be totally off on that, but I'm just saying there's a world where Fiziev, where if Oliveira beats Dariush, Fiziev gets the shot or Poirier gets the shot. They're both viable options you can get mad at. Obviously, if Dariush beats Oliveira, there's no argument Dariush gets the shot.
I feel like lightweight is one where you can't get mad at whoever gets that title shot next. Unless Beneil Dariush wins and it's not Beneil Dariush. Yeah. That's the only person who I'm going to be like, fucking really? What else does he have to do, you know? If Dariush loses, I'm happy with anyone in that top kind of 6, maybe even 7. If you like, no one else is available and Gamrot's around, like, I'm fine with it.
No one else available. Gamrot's around.
Yeah, right. Like, Chandler's booked up. Let's say Gaethje and Poirier booked up. Let's say Oliveira's on a loss, or maybe fuck knows. You know, I'm just spitballing. Like, maybe some of them are injured, whatever.
Yeah. You're right. It's a division that you could give anyone in that top 5, 6 a shot.
Like you've got a new champion, and he'd only beaten one guy, and you've got some fresh. The one guy fought kind of silly.
Yeah.
So even the rematch is compelling.
Yeah, I'd need to see a couple wins from Charles though. To be fair, he got fucked up.
What's changed? I said this, and you're like, nah, mate. No, Charles needs one more, and he's back.
Do you want to know what's changed? Alexander Volkanovski.
I do.
Alexander Volkanovski is what's changed everything. When Volkanovski put on such a class against him, that Volk deserves a rematch before Charles does. That's what changed.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Whereas minus Volk, Charles only needed one fight. But after what Volk did, you're like, well, if there's a rematch that Islam's having with anyone, it's not with Charles Oliveira now. It's got to be with Volk. So that's why. Yeah. That's what changed. Yeah. Whereas now, Charles absolutely needs multiple wins now. I'm agreeing with you now.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he needs multiple wins now. If Volk had got dominated, then it's a different story.
Yeah.
But I can see that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a hypocrite, I swear to God. I had reasons. I'm definitely a hypocrite, but like not in this particular case. Okay. We've both got Fiziev and both by KO.
Both by TKO. Yeah.
Okay. The main event of this card for the undisputed UFC Welterweight Championship, Leon Rocky Edwards versus Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman, for the third time. It's 1-1. Obviously, the rematch from last year's, one of the most shocking moments in the history of the UFC.
Oh yeah, that's like
I'll never forget.
that's one that's going to be
that.
remembered forever.
That was so fucking crazy. What Leon did, that 5th round KO, dropping Usman. Wow. I'm very intrigued by this rematch. But I'm very curious as well to hear your predictions. What you think's going to happen here.
Okay, so I think I've established at this point that I look at MMA through the most depressing lens possible.
You do.
And assume that that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, I get it.
I'm quite firmly set that Usman's just going to have the same fight as last time without getting knocked out.
Yep.
That being said, Leon can take a lot away. Obviously, the one of the big X factors of last time is that fight was at elevation. And Leon, looking back on that fight, has said, like, by round 2 he was gassed.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how he does when he's not gassed, because round 1 he won quite clearly, took Usman down. You know, Usman didn't look fucking awesome off his back. I'd like to see if maybe Leon can get some more offensive wrestling going without getting sprawled on immediately, which is kind of what happened in round 2 when he went for it.
Yeah.
There's also a big case for Leon being a fucking head case. You know, he's someone that fights emotionally, and
He does, yeah.
I'd like to see, now that he knows he can knock out the guy who's never been knocked out before, who's never really been hurt that much.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how does Usman look in terms of chin, in terms of, you know, does he start getting upset by shots that wouldn't have upset him before?
Yep.
And also, does Leon kind of come in and treat him like a bum? You know, does Leon come in and go, okay, I know I can knock you out. I know that I've been in there with you before now. I know that you're not this, like, crushing Terminator.
Yeah.
I have confidence in myself. I'm the fucking champ.
Yeah.
And if he does that, does he continue to make Usman, like, does he win exchanges on the feet whilst defending the wrestling, which is what we would have wanted to see from him.
It is. Yeah, true.
So I'm you know what? I'm gonna pick Leon. I'm gonna be bold with it. I'm gonna pick Leon.
Okay.
I just think momentum.
I'm also picking Leon.
Hey.
I think Leon's winning this fight. I'm pretty convinced Leon's winning this fight as well.
Okay.
I've been convinced for a while. I've been thinking about this a lot. And there's a lot of factors here, because to get knocked out the way Kamaru Usman got knocked out is so hard to come back from. So hard.
Yes.
It's one of the most vicious knockouts I've ever seen at that level with those stakes. It's so
ego-wise
hard. It's hard to come back from.
Yeah, sure.
Now, do I think Kamaru Usman is the level of greatness of an athlete and a person to be able to come to be one of the 1% of 1%ers that can come back from that, like a GSP did or an Amanda Nunes did type thing? And now I don't, I do rate Amanda Nunes very highly. I think she's pretty clearly the greatest women's fighter of all time. She's obviously not, GSP or
sure,
Usman, to be fair. But you know what I'm saying. Like, it does take a lot of pressure to get beat the fuck out of when you're the dominant champion and then still come back and put it all together again. That takes a lot mentally, more than anything. And I think Kamaru Usman is capable of that. And if he is capable of that, the way he's going to do it, he's not going to look great the first 2 rounds. The longer the fight goes, the better it is for Usman to build his confidence back. Take a couple shots is probably a good thing. I think no matter which way this fight goes, I think Leon's going to be winning that first round. Like, I think Leon is going to come in confident. I think Leon is going to be feeling that moment a bit. I think he's going to be feeling the crowd a bit. I actually do think Leon's going to be fighting like you said, emotionally like he does, but I think he's going to be a bit, not cocky, but very confident in this fight.
Yeah.
I actually think it's going to lead to him finishing Usman earlier than he finished him last time. I'm predicting a 3rd round finish for Edwards.
Okay.
I think Usman's... What it comes down to at the end of all these factors I was thinking of like this, that, and the other, I'm like, Kamaru Usman's about to turn 36 years old. His knees are fucked. He just got KO'd into oblivion. Leon Edwards is 31, in his prime, confident as anything, 9-fight win streak or whatever he's on. Something insane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just KO'd this guy into the land of wind and fucking ghosts, where shadows dwell. Like, it's in his backyard. I think Leon's going to be confident come in. I think he's going to land shots early on Usman. I think he's going to touch him a couple times early and Usman's not going to like it. I think Usman's also going to land a couple shots and you're going to be like, oh, wait, is Leon... does he have this? But I think when it comes down to brass tacks, when it comes down to striking, I don't think Usman's just going to be able to wrestle him like people might think. I think Leon's going to do well to deflect it. I think he's going to be... His confidence and Kamaru's lack thereof is going to come into the early wrestling not being effective or as effective. And I think it'll get to the 3rd round, and I think Kamaru would have already taken a couple of good shots, a couple of good, shots to the head and to the body. And I think Leon's going to put a combo together. I don't know. That's what I see. I actually think Leon's going to do it earlier.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
I just think, age is more than just a number in mixed martial arts, especially in this division, especially at this level. And
Usman had his time?
And I think Usman has had his time. Do I think when they fought last time Usman was the better fighter? Yeah, but I think that moment changed everything. And I think it's changed.
It certainly could have.
I also think win or lose, this is Kamaru Usman's last fight. Just saying.
Okay.
At his age with his
injuries,
injuries,
win is his last fight?
I think this is Kamaru Usman's last fight, win or lose.
I think this might be... If it's lose, it's his last fight. I think if it's win, he has one more.
Who's he fight? Who's he want to fight?
Now that's a good question, right?
No.
Because logically, in terms of who is there in the division, Gilbert Burns is the only one that makes any sense.
He was already beaten.
Hamza,
Usman is not going through another training camp. Oh, no, he's not. Usman's said he doesn't want to stick around forever. He's already been talking about retirement. Yeah. He wants to be there for his daughter. He's 36. His knees are fucked. The dude can barely walk. The dude needs to be on TRT stat. Probably is, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
But he
he's on everything.
Medically, he needs it. But if you do need it medically, you can't be fighting. Fuck off. I just think at that age, he's got nothing to prove. He's been pound for pound number one, a dominant world champion. He's one of the all-time greats. Go.
Yeah.
Win or lose, this is Kamaru Usman's last fight this weekend. Win or lose, this is Kamaru Usman's last fight.
Do you think he intended the Leon fight to be his last fight? The first Leon fight?
No, I think he had maybe one or two. I think he probably only had one or two more anyway.
Okay.
But I don't think the Leon Edwards was his last fight. I reckon he was probably going to watch the lay of the land. Maybe he would have fought Gilbert a second time and then fought a fresh contender for his last fight. But now I just don't think he'd do another one if it was somebody's already beaten.
You don't think maybe he would have gone up to light heavyweight to fight? I don't know, whoever was up there.
Yeah. Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think Usman is done this weekend. That's what I think. And my prediction is he gets finished in the middle rounds. Rounds 3 or 4.
Oh, you get him excited.
That's what I think. And I feel very relaxed about it because I don't really care. I don't have any investment. I don't have any investment in either of these guys. So I'm not. If Usman wins, I'll be like, great. If Edwards wins, great. I was rooting for Leon, in their first fight, and the boys Ash and Jared, who are on the reactions, and will be on the reactions to this one. They were there for the second fight, and I was the only one rooting for Leon. And I was telling them, I'm like, guys, I think Leon can win this. I really do think Leon can win this fight. And then as he was fading away, I was like, I didn't give up on Leon. Leon gave up on Leon. That's what the shit I was talking late in those rounds. And then Leon came out and KO'd him. And I was like, I fucking told you. I fucking said it. Like, so I am, like, I like Leon. I do like Leon Edwards. I really do. So I am rooting for him if I'm rooting for anyone. But again, I'm not bothered either way. But I do think it's Leon's time. And I think Leon gets this. And then I think he fights Gilbert Burns.
Yeah,
I think that's a really good fight too.
I'm primarily hoping for Leon to win because...
It's better for the division. It's better for the division.
Exactly. I want new fights in that division. I'm fucking sick of Usman. Like...
Yeah, I'm
fucking sick of Usman.
Yeah, with the greatest respect, because I have a lot of respect for Usman.
Yes,
as a champion, as a fighter, but it's his time. If his time's done, I'm not sad about it. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like, great champion, but you've done your thing now. Like, there's no one left. Like, Hamzat's not.
But that's my point.
You.
I feel like Usman feels that way. Even if he beats Leon, you're like,
who's left? Really?
Well, you don't need to fight anyone else. Retire, even if that's why I think it's his last one.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, if Kamzat was right there and was making weight, maybe, but no, he's not. He's not. He's
looking like he's moving up. So
yeah, no, there's just no clear contender next, other than maybe a Gilbert Burns, who Usman's already beat. Like, I just, yeah. It's tough. I hope Leon wins for the sake of the division, but either way, I think it's Usman's last fight anyway. So that's my predictions and thoughts on UFC 286.
Yeah, I think that concludes what I think as well. I'm picking Leon. You convinced me on a finish.
Yeah, I hope it happens for you.
I think if it is a finish, I think it happens in the middle rounds for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting finished in that 5th round again. I don't think that's happening.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very different fight to their first fight, to their second fight, I should say.
Yeah.
Especially with how it ended in Leon's confidence, but I'm excited to see it. I'm keen to watch this card. I'm keen to watch this fight. It's very intriguing. I've got a lot of questions, and I can't wait till next week and we can talk all about it and have our answers and predict the state of the. Because I think the welterweight division is getting shaken up after this weekend. Because this was obviously a clear rematch, and you knew where we were going with this division. But you know, either way this goes, we're not going to be sure where the next fight is come Monday. That's for sure.
I think we are, to be honest.
Gilbert Burns is booked for a fight. A lot of fighters are booked for fights. And yes, Gilbert Burns is going to beat Jorge Masvidal
next month.
That we do know. But, yeah. Oh, do you know what would piss me off if Leon wins and they just give Colby a fucking title shot without him fighting anyone?
God. What they'll do.
Fucking into hell. Kill
There's a reason they've made Burns versus Masvidal. And it's because if Leon remains on top, then you have a chance at Leon Masvidal being justified, and if not, then Burns,
if Masvidal somehow beats Gilbert Burns and Leon wins, you 100% do Masvidal and Leon for the belt for sure. But
but Burns also has that shine from the Kamzat fight
for sure. I'm rooting for Gilbert Burns, and I think Gilbert Burns wins that fight pretty fucking easily. But only time will tell. What I mean is Monday we're not going to be 100% sure what happens. We're going to have to wait till 287 to know where this division stands, because we need to see how Masvidal and Burns plays out. Either way, this fight this weekend goes. Because if Masvidal wins, because it really is an number one contenders fight, to be fair, because Masvidal's a big enough star that they'll just give him a title shot if he beats Burns, no matter whether it's Usman. Oh, actually, not if it's Usman, which it won't because he's retiring. But, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our thoughts and breakdown of UFC 286. We'll see you next week for our review and breakdown of that card, and then we'll be looking on to Cheeto Sandhagen, probably my main event fight pick of probably all of March. All of these March fights, this was the one I'm most looking forward to in terms of main event is Cheeto and Sandhagen. That's the fight. So
yeah,
I'm pumped.
I'm very excited for that.
Pumped to talk about
that. Bantamweights don't miss. Bantamweights do not miss. Like the week after, Rob Font, Adrian Yanez.
Dude, that fight fucking slaps so hard.
Yeah.
That's my fight of the night for 287 too. That's easily my fight of the night. Yeah, I'm keen to break that down. Fuck yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of Switching Stances. Go follow Gaz and myself on our social media. Be sure to like us, rate us on podcast services, YouTube, comment for the algorithm. We appreciate your support and growth. The social media has been going really well, and really happy with how we've launched and where we've been going. So it's good to get these episodes out and have all these cards early in the year so we can establish this show. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate all the support. Gaz, do you have anything else to add?
I've got nothing else to add. You've done that brilliantly.
I know, I'm really good at this.
Yeah, professional.
I'm very good at this. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you all next week to review UFC 286 and look at Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.